Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Friends, thank you so much. Great to see you. Hello, hello. Thank you always for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening or whether you're checking out an old episode. And thank you for the response last week. Last week, I talked about a weekly discipline that transformed my life. And I talked about in that specifically the weekly discipline, of coaching and finding coaching outside myself. And then I also announced the weekly capitalized coaching calls. Now, the capitalized coaching calls are a weekly coaching call for my Capitalize Your Best clients, and they happen every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. But I'm opening it up to guests to visit us to see what happens at the Capitalize Your Best program. And so this is a weekly commitment. It's going to happen every single week, Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got a great response on the very first one. I understand this is brand new. It's going to build some momentum. I record all those. Those are shared exclusively with my Capitalize Your Best clients. But I'm hoping that you guys get the chance to tune in. So this week I will be launching the registration page for those. But right now you just have to look out for me mentioning them on Facebook or on Instagram or LinkedIn or someplace like that. And if you reach out to me directly, I'll get you the link. Because like I said, right now, those are exclusive for the Capitalize Your Best clients. But we are inviting folks in to get a sense of what the community is like. The 1 hour long. And this past week, we launched, and like I said, it was wonderful. It's a new groove for me. I do monthly in seminars for my clients, but I've never really done this format before. So it's a lot of fun, stretching me, and it's giving my clients some more benefit. There's extra no cost to them, and then a chance for folks to see a little bit about what happens in the Capitalize Your Best program. Having said that, I've got some announcements. I'm going to try to do a little bit better about adding announcements to the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, because we have a lot going on and I'm really just trying to serve you in all these areas. So as I mentioned, the Thursday capitalized calls, here are the topics that are coming up. On January 16th, we're going to talk about the essentials of branding, like what it is you've got to have if you want to have an effective brand. On the 23rd, we're going to talk about which social media platforms are preferred by which generation. So what age and stage prefers which platform? This was something I talked about briefly in a real estate seminar back in, I believe it was October. And there was a lot of requests for this. I originally wrote a full seminar for this, but didn't get a chance to launch it at the end of the year. So on the 23rd, we're going to talk about generational preferences for which social media platform. One, that's interesting, but if you're targeting a specific audience, knowing where they are is helpful, and then you put your energies into being there. On the 30th, that's going to be a simulcast on the 30th of January. That is a capitalized coaching call, but I'll also be streaming from the Fredericksburg Social Collective hosted at Hope Heroes Southern Kitchen. That's a mouthful. And that topic is 3 marketing trends to grow your business in 2025. If you attend that event in person, there is a cost to pay for lunch. This is hosted by the Fredericksburg Social Collective, and we'll be meeting at Hope Heroes here in Fredericksburg. It's not streamed open, like it's not a public broadcast. It's only broadcast for the Capitalize Your Best coaching call. So that's what I've got going on there. On February 4th, I'm customizing the 3 marketing trends seminar for real estate, and that'll be at Sampson Properties. Now, having said all that, today I also announced on January 21st my first Capitalize Your Best Life seminar. My Capitalize Your Best Life program is built really more for just a holistic health, faith, family, fitness, finance. Is sort of the theme of the podcast here. That's going to be hosted at GinTonny Wellness Collective in downtown Fredericksburg. That's limited to 10 people. And there is a cost with that. It's $20.25. See what we did there. And that's from 2 to 4. Now I'll put all of these dates in the show notes. And if they're registration links, I'll put them there as well. But I've got a lot going on. My goal is to serve as many of you as possible. Anytime there's a cost, it is only related to the delivery of services. So the coaching calls on the 16th, 23rd, and 30th, those are free. The social collective on the 30th in person is to pay for lunch at Hope, and the event at Wellness Collective on the 21st has a cost because we're occupying that space. And then February 4th at Sampson Properties for real estate, that's just an invite. There's no cost or even registration for that. So reach out to me if you have a question. A lot of fun things going on. I'm very excited about the launch of the year. My goal is to impact 1,000 businesses and business professionals. And so I'm hoping, forgive me, I'm really hoping to do a podcast on how I came up with that number. 1,000 is not a random number, but that's probably a podcast for a different day. So what happened in this past weeks as we get to the episode, into the very first capitalized coaching call, is we talked about removing distractions that are affecting your marketing. And what I discovered and what everyone interacted with is that the topic was really relevant for anything. And so I would like to take that topic and I'd like to adapt it for the podcast today, because it's not just about removing distractions for your marketing. It's about removing distractions to accomplish your goals. So what I'm going to have for you now are 3 tips, 3 strategies to help you remove distractions to accomplish your goal, whether that goal be marketing, whether it be financial, whether it be fitness, health, or relationship, whatever the case may be. If you've got defined goals, these 3 strategies are going to help you remove the distractions that are keeping you from accomplishing those goals. Okay, so let's hop in. So 1, the thing is, you have got to make your goals bigger than your distractions. And you might say, my goals are bigger than distractions. Not if the distractions are winning. So, for example, I have this audacious goal of wanting to impact 1,000 business and business professionals. That's not random. It's related to the desires I have for the business. It's related to company revenue and personal revenue. If I get distracted with something, whether it be a movie or just wasting time, or whatever the case may be, this goal has got to be so big and so ingrained in what I want to do that it's bigger than a distraction. And that way I go, oh, I can't be distracted and do nothing now. Because I know that if I'm going to impact 1,000 people, then I've got to close contracts with 230 of them. And then that, and like I've got the numbers broken all the way down to daily goals. I have daily goals based on this. Let's say that you have a health and lifestyle goal, that you want to move 15 minutes a day. And you've decided that you're going to do that before you go to work. Okay, great goal. Now, that goal has got to be attached to something. Like, why? What's the outcome? Well, because then I know that I can lower my cholesterol, or I'll be healthier, or I'll feel better about myself. Okay. So when you get up in the morning and you want to hop on your phone, you go, well, but I can't. This goal is so big for me and so important. It's more important than that distraction. And so now I'm going to talk about a way in which you can enforce this in number 2. But your goal has got to be so big that you're like, I don't have time to do those things. I don't have time to be distracted because this goal is so big, and that requires goal setting in every single area of your life. And so that's what it takes. It takes a massive goal in every single area of your life. And people go, I don't like setting goals because I don't want to be disappointed. And I was like, well, I think you're disappointed all day long anyway, because you're just not accomplishing any goals. If you're not accomplishing goals, you're either massively content in every area. And I don't believe that's true, because I believe if we're not growing, we're dying. Or you've just decided to live in disappointment. And so the disappointment that I'm going to live in my life is when I don't give it my best, that I'm going to achieve goals, and I've got them in every area of my life, and they've got to be so big that when the distraction comes along, I'm like, I don't have time for that distraction. I got to be doing this thing. And that means a very disciplined life. And the disciplined life is the free life, according to Jocko Willink. And I agree with that. Discipline equals freedom. If I want the freedom to do what I want to do, then I have to have a disciplined life so I can earn that time and do it guilt-free. So your goal has got to be bigger than distraction. Now, people are like, how do I do this stuff? Number 2, create neural pathways. create neural pathways. Now, neural pathways is something I really began to understand as I was recovering from my seizures and creating what a healthy life would be post seizures, right? So what I realized, and this is just basic neurology, is that anytime we learn how to do something, a neural pathway is created. The brain creates connection, and that connection then makes it easier for us to do something. For example, there's a neural pathway for your name. What's your name? Gordon. I don't have to think about it. There's a neural pathway. It's connected there. Well, if we want to avoid distractions, what we got to do is we've got to disconnect the neural pathway from the thing that distracts us and connect the neural pathway to the thing we want to accomplish. I'll give you an example. And you know what? Part of this is just discipline. You know, disciplines and habits create neural pathways. That's how we do it. Disciplines and habits create neural pathways. So when I know that I'm going to go running, like for example, this week I had to run in 14-degree weather. Okay. Now, what I have created in my life is this neural pathway. Somewhere in the evening, usually around 8, 9 o'clock, I check the weather. I know exactly what the weather is going to be the next morning. I then get the running clothing together fit for that weather, and I put it at the bottom of the stairs so that when I come down, and I have everything. I have my headphones, I have my running watch charged up, everything I need. I'll make sure I have the coffee ready because I drink 1 cup of coffee before I leave. So all of that is set in the evening. So when I come downstairs, when the temptation to be distracted and do nothing and just drink a giant pot of coffee or just play on my phone, when all that happens, or not wanting to go outside, the neural pathway has been created already that I'm like, oh, there's my clothing. There's my cup of coffee. There's my watch. And I just immediately start getting ready. And because you know what, if there's anything that gets in the way of that, it's tempting to not go. Like if I'm like, oh, it's 14 degrees and I need an extra shirt. That shirt is in our bedroom. I don't want to wake Amy up. If I go in there, I'm going to wake her up. I'll just go running later on this afternoon. And then I bet you I don't go running this afternoon. So that's what happens. So again, the neural pathway one is that automatically, I don't even think about it. I just immediately start getting my clothing and gear together in the evening. The neural pathway now is that when I come downstairs, it's there. And I eliminate the distraction. So the distraction is the couch and the phone. Like I know, and I also have built it in such time that I get up where I've got to leave at a certain time. And those things, see, disciplines and habits create neural pathways. I don't even realize I'm doing it. When at 8 or so o'clock, I just get up and start getting my gear together for the next day. So my brain has created that connection. You know, I realized, and guys, this works for everything, not just running, but you're going to always get running analogies from me. You've got to create habits and patterns to create neural pathways because I don't know what your goals are. What I've learned about myself is when I'm done with a marathon training cycle typically is 16 weeks long. That's 4 months. Every day, 6 days a week, I know exactly what I'm supposed to run and how fast I'm supposed to run it. And I get up and I go through that. And the day off, I'm doing things that are restorative and recovery, stretching, lifting, push-ups, dumbbell, that kind of thing. Those things are all built in, right? When I'm done with a marathon, I need a couple of weeks to recover. My body is beat up. But I've learned that after about 10 days, if I don't go back into a pattern of training and scheduled, I start getting and feeling really down. The neural pathway is you should be doing something. You should be training. You should be moving forward. And if I don't do the work and I don't have that planned already, I start feeling down and discouraged. And I'm like, what's going on? Because the neural pathway is like, what's going on? There should be something happening here. And you know what? I do that for my business and I do that for other areas of my life. And so disciplines and habits create neural pathways and they help me avoid distractions. Okay. Number 3, you got to choose what you're willing to lose. You got to choose what you're willing to lose. If you want to avoid distractions, usually distractions are entertainment. Often they're not healthy for us, not everyone, but you're going to lose free time. You might lose some friends. You might lose entertainment. People are like, hey, have you seen the most recent episode of whatever? And you're like, I haven't. You have to choose what it is you're willing to lose so that you can accomplish your goals. Because when you do that, the distractions don't get in the way. Even they don't. You're like, I'm going to lose that for the sake of this goal. I'm willing to lose that. And you have to decide that ahead of time. If you have to decide it in the moment, I can't really go out late at night because I've got to do this thing. If you haven't made that commitment when that comes up there, you're going to get distracted. You're going to go out late at night and then you're not going to accomplish your goal. You got to choose what you're willing to lose. And sometimes how big a goal is depends on just how much you're willing to lose. So, friends, those are my 3 tips. In the capitalized coaching call, we directed this towards your marketing. Here, I'm just making it in general if you want to accomplish your goals. So, again, let me repeat them. Your goals got to be bigger than your distractions. Excuse me. You got to create new neural pathways, and you do that by habits and disciplines. And then you got to decide what you're willing to lose. And when you do that, you're going to see yourself really beginning to accomplish your goals. So, friends, let me know what you think about this. I hope it's encouragement. Definitely check in on all the events coming up. I've got that information in the show notes. And I appreciate the likes, shares, and the comments. We're going to go a little bit more strategic, a little bit more organized and disciplined with the show this year. And I'm trying to do that. So I hope you're enjoying it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Friends, I will see you again next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.